So, one of the things that has been interesting learning curve is some of the language used not only in like the art community, but also folks here on YouTube, like language that they use that's related to art stuff. And that is one of the places that I had to really figure out and navigate. And the first word that I want to mention is open stock. So, hi, my name is Sequoia. I use she and her pronouns. And right now, this channel has been centered on, at least over the past like month and a half, 2 months, specifically my creative practice. And I am sharing right now through a series some of the tips and tricks that I have learned and also incorporated into my art practice since I've been more dedicated to the art practice and being more consistent with that, but specifically like my sketchbook practice. And so in watching different, art YouTube channels, there is language that folks use that I just wasn't familiar with. And again, it's all art related language, but one word was open stock. I kept hearing, different YouTube folks say open stock, and I'm like, what is that? And you know, easily found out that open stock means, art tools, art products that are usually in sets that are available where you can purchase them outside of the set. So, as an example, these Stabilo balls highlighters, these come in a set, but open stock means that you can purchase, one at a time. You don't have to just purchase the whole set to try it out, right? So, yeah, so that's what open stock is. And so once I understood like what open stock was, one of the things that I started to do to help build my toolkit was, see, I decided, I wanted a few color pencils, I wanted a few highlighters, I wanted some watercolors, So I knew that those were the mediums that I wanted to try out. And then after that, I looked at color, and you can go back through my series and check out, more on that specifically. So I'm not going to recount all of that. The one thing that I just want to highlight about OpenStock is how I use OpenStock to build my toolkit with different mediums, but then also to test the items, right? To see if I want a full set. There's nothing that says that you have to buy a full set of anything, right? But testing different tools out via OpenStock helps you to see what you like, what you don't like, again, without having to commit to a whole set of that particular thing. And so I have different tools that come in sets. So like I have again these Stabilo highlighters. I also have like Holbein pencils, different color pencils that all come in sets. Now the one thing that I want to highlight today, which is one of the other reasons that we're here, is that I finally got my first set of one particular medium. And I should have cut this off before I came on here. But I, started to purchase some, and I'm trying out a new angle, y'all. So I hope that y'all can see me. Hello, how are y'all? Um, one of the initial mediums that I bought open stock was these Caran dache Neocolors. And in my hand, I have Neocolor 1s and Neocolor 2s. And one is not water soluble, and the other one is, right? The Neocolor 1s are not water soluble, the Neocolor 2s are water soluble. And so, over the over the course of the past few months, um, I recognize that I really don't like. Well, let me not say it like that. It's not that I don't like the Neocolor tools. It's just if I want something that's gonna be have like this watercolor effect, I would prefer it in pen as opposed to in this form. So I prefer the Neocolor ones. So I have a few of those, and this is the first set of anything that I've decided to buy are these Neocolors. And so let me tell you about not not about any other properties or anything related to this. Like there are so many, videos on YouTube where you can go and check all of that, like, detailed information about. I'm just kind of sharing what my process has been, like how I've thought about these materials. One, because I have to be mindful of how much I purchase, and with art supplies, the art community, the way that new items are released related to our materials, you can really get sucked into the consumerism part. And that's one of the reasons why in the title it says resisting Caran dache. So if you follow any of the larger kind of art YouTube channels, you know that Caran dache recently released like 4 new Neocolor sets. And I reference the larger YouTube channels with that because the Caran dache definitely, sent some of those YouTube channels, some of these items to promote. Fine, like no issue with that, right? But as I was watching, because yes, I definitely initially was like, okay, it would be interesting, to maybe get some of the limited editions. But then I was like, you know what? Let me take a step back, um, and think about what it is that I actually want related to these pastels. Like I've come to know that I love crayons, and so thinking about, did I want the limited edition or did I just want to purchase the larger, the full set? So I waited, I watched some of the videos on, some of the review videos on the limited edition sets that recently dropped. And, very beautiful colors. The few that they added to the set, or to the collections, let me say, they were nice colors. But I decided to take advantage of some of the other art store platforms that were selling the full set on sale. So that's how I ended up making my decision. Um, there was definitely a discount code going around for the limited edition set for the Neocolor ones, so I could have gotten those discounted, but I found these. Let's see. I got these from Blick, and we're gonna get into the small art haul shortly. But I got these from Blick, and these were on sale for $83 and like 65 cents or something like that. And in my head, it made sense at that price point to buy the full set because there are 40 in here. It's $80, and so I'm like, okay, these are gonna roughly be about $2, $2 a piece on sale. And I didn't look this up. That would have been a good idea for me to look this up. But open stock, if I remember correctly, and I feel confident about saying this, open stock, these are more than $2 a piece. So that is my rationale. That is my um like long-winded kind of rationale about why it made sense for me to give in and buy something here and dash, but it didn't have to be these limited edition, sets that they recently released. Like this was a way for me to, I guess, still participate in buying the things, but maybe more from a grounded decision. Y'all tell me if that makes sense to you. And I don't need to be precious about this. I'm not gonna swatch this or anything. I just wanted to open it with y'all. Um, I do have a few other. Um, I do have a few other purchases from Blick that I want to share with y'all. But this is what this set looks like. I'm so excited about this. Oh my God. I'm very excited about this being my first set. Okay, so let's see. From Blick, I got the Neocolors on sale. I bought 1/2 pan of Daniel Smith watercolor, and I got 3 color pencils, and then this is some kind of paint. I don't remember. Okay, I got golden, ultramarine violet, acrylic paint. I got a Daniel Smith buff titanium, Daniel Smith French ultramarine, and then imperial purple and Daniel Smith as well. Let me tell y'all, I have fallen in love with Daniel Smith watercolors. My first one is this Cascade Green, and I love, like, I've had this maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and yeah, like the pen is clearly being well loved. But that's Cascade Green. That is a beautiful green that granulates just amazingly. And so after that, I started to go on like this Daniel Smith deep dive, because usually I use the Kuretake Gansai 10B watercolors, and I love those. Um, but this is also how open stock is helpful for me as well. Um, based on what my price point needs to be for like my monthly art supply purchases, that kind of dictates what I'm able to try. So I've tried a lot of different mediums at kind of lower price points to see if I just like using that particular medium. So I figured out that I really like using color pencils by using, you know, I had some regular Crayola, color pencils. I had and a few Prismacolor color pencils, right? So I just started using color pencils to see, do I actually just like that, period. And then I started to buy more artist grade, if you will, more better quality or different quality color pencils. So like Holbein, I love Holbein color pencils. Those are so expensive, and the Caran Dash color pencils too. Those are my favorite. I also really like the Derwents. Um, but but I like the Faber Castells as well, and I got 3 of those this time. And I'll swatch all of these out. So let's do that. Okay. Hello. Okay. So I have been really exploring this analogous color palette. The violet, red violet, and blue violet aspects of analogous. So I've recently gotten just a lot of things kind of in that color palette. And this is, maybe that's better. This is Delphi Blue. In the Faber Castell polyhcromous. Delta Blue. This is 141. And it's like a dark purple. It's like a dark purple. This next one is Helio Blue Reddish. That's a really pretty blue. Very muted color. Helio Blue Reddish. And that's 151. Okay, and then the last one that I got, and I love Caput Mortem, and this is Caput Mortem Violet. Let me see. I can't see my Caput Mortem is a little bit more on the tan side, and then this has like some red in it, which is the violet, right, aspect to just make it deeper. So this is Caput Mortem Violet 263. Okay. Did I put the... After getting this golden acrylic paint in this particular color, ultramarine violet, is this the heavy body? This is the heavy body acrylic. After getting this, I saw that there are some other options from the heavy bodies that are more opaque. So like this one is, if I remember correctly, semi-transparent ultramarine violet. And the next time I get another heavy body acrylic, I'm gonna make sure that it is from more of the opaque, on the opaque side of things, because I like matted, muted colors. But how I would use this heavy body acrylic as a semi-transparent, relatively transparent acrylic, I would use this as a background to kind of create that like pan pastel, like smoky, hazy, misty kind of atmospheric background. Like that's what I'm working towards right now, is because I like pan pastels. I like the way that they look, but they are very expensive, and I also don't like the dust part. I don't like that, but I like the look of it, so I'm trying to create that with other materials. So I think that this does a good job, you know, with creating like that hazy, foggy, and then, you know, I can layer and build on top of this particular color. So that's the thought process behind this. Let's see. Okay. do want to swatch for y'all these. I don't think I'm going to swatch the buff titanium, but I will swatch the French ultramarine, the imperial purple. Let's just wet the paper because that's what I prefer is wet on wet. This is imperial purple. It still has, I think, some binder on here. That's very pretty. Again, looking for other materials that give me like that hazy, misty, smoky, atmospheric, you know, kind of vibe that a pan pastel gives. I like that. And Daniel Smith's watercolors. I really like Daniel Smith because the watercolors granulate really nicely and it gives this texture that creates that hazy. This is so much that just automatically popped out. Oh, I hate that. Um, Man, this one thick. It also did not have enough water on the page like I like, but that's okay. This French ultramarine is so pretty. I think y'all kind of see where I'm going with this color palette. Yeah, the other thing that I would say too that's helpful is it's okay if you just take your time to figure out like what it is, what materials you actually like, and not starting with some of the more artist grade materials is okay, you know. Um, I'm not saying that folks are out here, you know, making a big deal about that, but I think you can kind of get caught up, especially if you, like me, engage a lot with the art community here on YouTube. You know, it can feel like you won't be able to get a certain outcome unless you have this particular item. And sometimes that can be true depending on what it is. But, you know, for the most part, I think it's super important to figure out what you like and then work your way up, you know, related to what you purchase. Um, okay, let me start. Okay, so this last one that I am going to swatch for y'all is this Venetian red. I bought this in a half pan. Let's see. Let's turn this way. Yeah. I did it again. And it's gonna drip. Oh no. Hurry, hurry. Interesting. Okay, we'll see what that does. But this is the Venetian red. Oh my God, I love that. Daniel Smith, I'm on you. I'm on your ass, Daniel Smith. This reminds me of the Venetian red that I have in the Kuretake, but this one is more red. I think it'll be interesting to layer this one on top of this Daniel Smith Venetian red with or on top of the Kuretake Venetian red. Okay. So that's my little art haul. I hope that this was helpful related to open stock, but also just thinking, giving y'all some other kind of insights about how to swim, in these like consumerist waters. That just being an artist and a creative, like you at some point you have to purchase art supplies, like you have to get something. And when you do, like how can you do that from an intentional place? How can you do that from a place that honors, like where you're at with things? So yeah, and there are ways to think about that, while also building up your art collection, yeah, for yourself. So thank y'all so much, and I will see you the next time.